you loud and clear.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. The whole world is listening. The whole world is hearing you. You can now take over the microphone. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate inviting me to come and share insights of what I know. Having joined IPOB in 2015, I will start by introducing my name. I am Madam Erewa, and my age, I am 73 years old. I am a mother and of 4 successful young sons, very successful, I thank God. I'm a grandmother. I am a widow. I am in Shakiri Urobo speaking Biafran from coastal region, Biafra land. When I joined IPOB in November 2015, that was exactly 1 month after the illegal arrest and kidnap of our leader, Mazi Uche Mefor. I frantically want to join IPOB, and I found I was connected to Mazi Victor Ebona in Boston, Massachusetts, USA. And from there, I was introduced to other members, Toshuku, Ikwanusi, and the rest of them. And then I was introduced to Obidie, Obienu, who at the time, in that November 2015, was IPOB USA National Coordinator. He wasn't in the time zone. USA is very, very large. It has 4 time zones. So the time zone that I am is Eastern time, very far from Pacific time in Los Angeles, California, where Obidie, Obienu is. So Obidie, Obienu administered my oath by phone. Instantly, I was made the coordinator to coordinate the unit for Massachusetts IPOB. Even though I just joined, I gladly accepted it. And actually, we worked as a team. We had one. We worked as a team. We paid our dues, whatever levies we paid, whatever account that Obienu provided, we paid. And I was representing my unit in the meeting. I will call into the meeting. But there was something I noticed about the meeting. Obidie Obienu will call the meeting, but he is not the one running the meeting. The meeting was being run by others. I don't know who they are, but they are the one running the meeting. And when I try to ask some specific question, very critical question, I will be muted out. I noticed I could hear the discussions going on, not very organized meeting, but I could hear the discussions going on. And when I tried to respond, I began to notice that I am not being heard. There was one particular instance they were going to vote. I was told to call in. So I called in. They didn't even say it's a vote. They were doing some voting. And as soon as I called in, I was being asked, whom am I voting for? I said, I don't know what this is for. What is this vote about? Obidie Obienu voted for him. He voted. in support of whatever it is. Then he voted for his wife. His wife wasn't even at that meeting, but he voted for his wife. So that's when I asked and said, what is this vote for? And by the way, Obidie, why are you voting for your wife? I was muted out. I was cut off. But I stayed on, and others, he was muting others out, and I could see others calling back in and saying, Obidie, why did you mute me out? Why are you muting me out? So I knew I wasn't the only one that Obidie was muting out. It was all about money. You pay levies, then you pay pledge, then you pay dues, and all this we were paying into the whatever account that he provided. And they will not give you details. They will not give us any details. And when you ask, Obidie said is command and control. You don't have any right to ask, where is this money being paid into? During this time, Clifford Iruanya were DOS. So I couldn't comprehend DOS, what is the chain of command, what is DOS, what is the role of DOS. I couldn't comprehend deputy, the role of deputy, the coordinators. I kept asking because I am very curious. Then he will send me, sometimes Obidie will send me to Clifford, and Clifford will put me through. So with time, I came to know the chain of command. There were problems, a lot of problems. Clifford Iruanya, deputy himself, was having issues with DOS. I think Omiomio and them were in charge of DOS. And the deputy was having problems with DOS. So a meeting was called, and we were called into that meeting. Clifford was supposed to be in that meeting, Iruanya, and deputy was supposed to be in that meeting. They were supposed to present. He said they use code to the DOS. They will use code to talk, to be doing meeting. He didn't know what code they were using, so he was more left in the dark. So shortly after this meeting, DOS suspended Obienu. In the meantime, Obienu had problems, had a lot of problems with Ipob USA. People, they were very unhappy with him. So when he was suspended, many people appreciated that DOS took that stand. And so they decided that US will be run by 4 time zones. Eastern time, I will be the one, I was made to be the coordinator for Eastern time, and then you have the other 3. And now, during the course of this, it didn't play well with deputy that Obienu was suspended. It didn't play well with deputy about dividing US. Somehow, DOS, we heard that there is no more DOS. It was all scrapped. And before we knew it, Obidie was brought back, and he resumed his position. So all the structures that we put in place, we were going to use to make US to be formidable time zone, and for each time, each US time to work together in collaboration to make Ipob USA to be powerful, was basically scrapped, and it was back to And so Obienu was now the continental rep at first. Then from IPOB USA continental rep, Obienu became North American rep to include Canada. And Gordy Erushalu became was made the national coordinator. So the communication was very fragmented. So when this happened, I was put on DOS because I was coordinator of Massachusetts, and Massachusetts was very neat, tight. We were working together, and it was one. So I was then already said I will be on DOS. I got a call from deputy, and he said I'm going to be on DOS. I said I appreciated it. I thanked him. I said okay. Then Obidie told me that since I'm coming on DOS, I should now relinquish the role I am as IPOB, the coordinator for Massachusetts. I said okay, and it was given to Tochukwu. As soon as that was given to Tochukwu, Tochukwu Ikwanusi asked me to tender my debit card, because it was Victor Ebona and myself. We had signatory. We were sending our money directly to Germany because the money they were paying inside this one, they call it national account. I made a search and I found that it was a shareholders account. It wasn't really a non-profit account. It was a shareholders account, which of course I made that very clear. So if it's a shareholders account, then I asked Obidie, why don't you let IPOB members in USA know that it's a shareholders account you are running? Why do you make them to think that they are in a non-profit? Why don't you let them know that they are shareholders? You know, so that it didn't play well. It didn't even play well with Clifford Iwanya either. But I'm talking about Obienu, so I will focus on Obienu and deputy in this presentation here. So now, when they knew, I know that they were running a shareholders account, I became a target. Anything I say, they oppose. I became a bad person. Obidie on DOS, him and deputy, they were ganging up on me. It was terrible. It was terrible, I must say, you know, that I went through in the hands of Obidie and deputy, you know. So now we stayed on. When I became aware in March, March 2018 is when I became aware that deputy and Obienu, they were not with leader. That was after leader's whereabouts was not known, because September is when they went to September 2017 is when they went. The zoo went to leaders' private residence. They wanted to go and eliminate him. But God saved him. Although we lost 28 IPOB members, we lost leader's dog, leader's parents' life went into this, and I think leader's relative, blood relative went into this, you know. So there was a loss there. But God spared the leader. So leader's whereabouts was not known. During the course of when leaders' whereabouts was not known, I got a lot of warnings from deputy. And I hope I will have enough time now to share these warnings. The first warning that I got from deputy was during the no election in Anambra. I was still on DOS at the time. The discussion was discussed, and that flyers should be designed and it should be sent to the deputy HOD for approval. You know, Mazi Tony Zurumike, I believe, is the deputy HOD in Germany. We should send it there. At that time, I was still in communication also with head of finance, Mrs. Nenaya. And so we designed my unit, we designed our flyer, very nice. We spent time in it, and we sent it to HOD. HOD looked at it, he approved it. Even Madam Nenaya loved it. She commended it. And then we sent it to the deputy HOD. As soon as we sent it to the deputy HOD, Deputy Uche Mefor sent me a query email. He said, I should have known better not to send that flyer to Tony Zurumike, that I'm supposed to have sent the flyer to Obidie Obienu, and that I'm on DOS. I should have known that Obidie Obienu is the North American rep. So I responded in that email that, well, Deputy, it was discussed on DOS that we should submit the flyer to Deputy HOD, and that's why I sent it. But if you say so, he said it is command and control. I said, okay, if you say so, I will send a flyer to Mazi Uche. So I sent the flyer to Mazi Uche, which, even though I felt pain, but with all due respect. Till today, as I'm making this presentation, Obienu never responded. He never acknowledged the receipt of that flyer. Even though I sent a reminder, as the time was drawing closer, I sent a reminder. I said, because I am seeing other flyers, but I'm not seeing our own. There was no response, not from Obidie and not from deputy. So we went on, The second instance that I again got a query from a deputy was a discussion that was held on DOS about Biafran Telegraph. It's a magazine that should be purchased, and we are to tell our respective members of our unit or zone to purchase the flyer. And that was a message at the magazine. So I brought it to my meeting, and members were very happy. They were very happy that there is a Biafran Telegraph. As a matter of fact, some acknowledge that they have seen it. So we decided that we will buy. And the question was, where do they send the money? I said, that's a good question. I don't know. I will find out from the head of finance, who is Mrs. Nenaya. So I called her. She told me I should call HOD. I said, okay. So I contacted HOD. HOD sent the information. He said it's Australia. I gave the name. I think Mazi Uche Mefor. I said, okay. So I contacted him, and he sent the information where to send the money, and we sent the money. Because it was discussed on DOS, I thought it's okay for me to let DOS, HOD know that, my unit, we purchased the Biafra telegram. Instead, it was a query I got from a deputy. And he said, you don't have to tell the world that your unit bought this Biafra telegram. He sent me the email. I responded that, well, with all due respect, Deputy, it was discussed. And because it was discussed on DOS, and that it's okay for us to go tell our members, so I thought it's okay to give a feedback to DOS that I actually carried out as discussed, and my unit bought. He said it's command and control, and that I didn't have to let everybody know that my unit bought. So that was the second time query I got. The third query that I got from a deputy, it had to do with how Obienu was interfering with our Massachusetts Ipob. How he was splitting it. He took Ipob now, being the coordinator of our unit. He used Tochukwu Ikwanusi, Dennis Ukatu, Tochukwu Njoku, Eric Ugwaka, and Promise Otaluka. He used them to come and cause serious problem. We were no longer getting along. Tochukwu Ikwanusi is everything about Obidie. You dare not ask question. If you ask question, is we are not listening. Even Tochukwu went as far as calling me vindictive. He called me vindictive. And it got to a point. We asked, can we have? Is it possible to have two? That is more than one, because we were no longer getting along at all. It was like head along. I could not believe it. So we contacted Mrs. Madam Nenaya to make inquiry. So June 16th, I remember that one. June 16th. Let me see, June 16, 2017, it was on a Sunday. A leader was still in prison at that time, Kuje prison. He called a meeting. There was a meeting of DOS. We were all in that meeting, it was Skype. That's when leader made it clear that every IPOB USA unit is autonomous. You can send your money directly to Germany. And so, you can have more than one. So that was done. And when leader made that announcement, that was a relief to us. So we now went to register our own unit. So we now have 2 IPOB in Massachusetts. And the account that we have, we had 2 checking accounts. One had the money that Tochukwu and his group that were causing problems. We had to let them have that very checking, and we had our own. Now, when it was time for Tochukwu to go and register their own IPOB so they can have their account, it was a problem. Believe you me, Obidie caused a lot of problems for us. So in the end, they told us that they have already gotten the account. So we thought they have registered their name, and they want us to transfer the money into the account that they opened. Am I coming out?
Yes,
okay.
You are. Go on.
Okay, thank you. So they wanted us to now transfer the money. So we transferred the money to the account and tendered their account, and we closed that checking account. You know what? October of 2017, you are not going to believe what we found. I went to the Secretary of State in Massachusetts, because every year you must have to do what you call annual report. So I went to do annual report of our unit. And when I walked into the Secretary of State and I gave the name, they told us that we didn't exist. And I told them, no, I said our unit does exist. I'm the one that registered it. I told them we have 2. They said, oh, then maybe that explains it. They went back to check. When the man came back and told me that Tochukwu Ikwanusi promised Otaluka, they went and swapped their name over our name. So they started using our own information to be sending money to Germany, we from IRS. So that could have, so we closed it and opened another one. And then we informed IRS that we no longer use that registration number. So IRS recognized what we wrote. And in other words, in order for Tochukwu Ikwanusi to be able to send money for bank, to send money, he must have to apply for what you call EIN. They didn't want to do that. Then they started sending their money to the whatever account that Obidie has. Then they started scandalousing my name. Anything is my head. They scandalous my name across the United States of America and beyond. That I am this. If people didn't see me, they would think I am evil. That's what Obidie did. That's what Tochukwu did. So we went on. Now, a leader finally came out. We were very happy. But while leader was still, we didn't know. We women, IPOB women, USA, we decided that let us form a women's wing, and let us be going on air. Let us do awareness and bring women in to the struggle, and then reach out to other women worldwide. So this was the plan. And we were going to do this through Mazi Uche, and this was now in 2018. So Mazi Uche worked with us. We were formed. Myself, that represent Ichekiri Urobo speaking, and then we have Epic to talk about, to show that the second man in command to bless his memory, Ojukwu, is Philip Effiong. Then we have two from Igbo speaking, but from two different parts of Igbo speaking Biafra. So we did that. We went on air. We did very well. On the 18th, March 18th, we did very well. A lot of people, I think calls were flooding. We are flooding Mazi Uche's radio. I think he had to block it because people could not wait to call him. And then after we finished, Mazi Uche called. He congratulated us. We also designed a flyer. The flyer, we introduced ourselves as Indigenous People of Biafra, IPOB, North America Women Coalition, under the leadership of Mazi Uche, and also we said deputy leader. We put it. After we did the broadcast on March 18, 2018, Obidie went wild. He was mad. He carried on. He said whatever we went to do on Radio Biafra, we didn't have any right. He said we didn't pay. We didn't pay our levies. We did not pay our due, whereas we paid it all. I paid 7 levies, including our time. As I'm talking, I pay my dues on time. You know, he accused us. He said we were supposed to go and be talking about transmitter levy. He said we are not supposed to say that IPOB is under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. That's when I knew that Obidie is not with leader. He said USA, he is the leader of USA IPOB. So we submitted appeal to deputy. And that's how I also came to know that deputy is not with leader. I have known that since 2018, what people know today. So we tendered appeal petition to deputy about what Obidie said. The flyer, he went, he resubmitted the flyer. He redesigned the same flyer that we created. Obidie redesigned it and took out. From that flyer, he took out under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. He wiped it out and also wiped out deputy leader. And he made himself the leader of USA. So we stand that appeal, that a petition, that what Obidie did is beyond acceptable. We will not accept it. And that we are recommending that, we are not saying that Obidie should be removed, but we are saying that this role, he is not fit to be the rep. They should give him another role and put somebody that could move US forward, and that Obidie is destroying USA. But to our surprise, hello, knock on wood, people, you are not going to believe this. Deputy sent me a query. He said we didn't have any right to submit any petition against Obienu. He said I should have known better is command and control. I should have known better. I'm on DOS. I should have known better that I'm not supposed to do that. And that he agreed with Obienu that IPOB is not under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. As I talk, God is my witness. Chukwu Okike Abiama Elohim. That's when we asked Deputy, if IPOB is not under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu, could you then tell us under whose leadership is IPOB? That's when I also asked him, what the heck am I doing on DOS? If IPOB, I came into IPOB, all of us came into IPOB, true leader, because of him and the message that he sent. Now you are telling us, you agree with Obidie that IPOB is not under the leadership of Nnamdi Kanu. Then under whose leadership it is? Deputy did not respond back to us. He did not. We sent, and the men got upset. They too sent Deputy their own petition about all of this, what Obidie is doing, how he has turned US into pieces. So, by June, Deputy was, we heard that Deputy is coming to the US, and we thought he was coming to fix the problem of USA in June 2018. First, he was going to Canada. We thought he was coming to fix the problem of North America because Obidie was the rep for the whole of North America. So I even went to Canada myself. That's when I saw Deputy for the first time. I saw HOD, and then I flew back to US. And June, 2 days genocide exhibition was going to happen in USA. And Deputy, when he left Canada, after they finished what they did in Canada, thinking that everything he's working is here to fix, he flew to Los Angeles to meet, to see Obienu with HOD. They all went. There was one other doctor that came along with them. I can't remember the name of the doctor, but there were 3 of them. So we all went to Washington, D.C. for the 2 days genocide exhibition and town hall meeting. Lo and behold, Obienu never came. We were all cramped in this small hall. And at this time now, Erushalu is no longer the national. It is now Dr. Clement Okoro. So he is the one that conducted this whole, he will talk for hours. Everybody will just sit there listening. Nobody say. For that 2 days, after the genocide exhibition where we watch all the history, Obienu na Papa. Now Obienu they control Deputy. I'm telling you people, Deputy we hook Obienu in a device. People now they hear this so he will hook Obienu in a device. Obienu will come to talk to us through a device. All of us go sit down there. He go curse whoever he want to curse. Yeah, he have fight with almost all the people. He go curse who he want curse, insult who he wants insult. Dr. Okoro in Pennsylvania, that one get a fallout. He do back and forth. For the first day, all of us just did there like you will not talk, we just sit down there, listen, and that end. The second day of the genocide exhibition, They told us, say 9 a.m., make we show up for the hall. 9 a.m., now they tell us. Food not there, nothing, you know. We all went. We came back. 9 a.m., we were there. The door, they never even opened up. One person finally came, they opened the door and left. We were there from 9 a.m. till about 12. Children, little children, will come hungry, don't they kill them? I even take some across where mall they go buy food. 12, 9 deputy can't show up. With, what did they call them? The national coordinator. Now then they show up. I was sitting in the front. As soon as they saw me, you know what they did? They went through the back door and entered through back door because they know, say, I will ask them. Now 9 o'clock be this. So they all went through the back door, including the deputy himself. So they said the hall door open, so we all entered. Again, is the same scenario until it got to my turn that day, because now day 2. So I had opportunity now to ask questions, others did. And I asked critical questions. I asked Obienu, my first question to Obienu in that June was, Obidie, why are you not here in this genocide exhibition? Why are you not here, Obienu? And you call yourself the North American Red? You are not here. You are talking to us through a device. Each time I ask Obienu question, deputy will stop me. He will tell me I'm being disrespectful, but I'm asking truthful questions. Then I asked about money. Obidie, you can't ask people to pay money into their account. You even made people who were paying through units. You told them that if they live in another state, they should pay into this account. How did it come about? America is a country of law and order. How did it come about that you, Obienu, you are in California, Pacific time, and you came to Delaware in Eastern time to open an account? What ID did you use? Because there is no bank that will establish account for you except somebody that is in Delaware, you know, open that account. And then the person is sending money to you. Stopping me, and I will not stop. I will not stop. I went on. I went on because I want people to know that Obidie is defrauding people, you know, and we cannot allow our unit to be defrauded. We are sending our money to Germany. But explain to this, explain how. How is it? What is the name? Deputy didn't want it. So what did Obidie do? Obidie said, Obidie accused me. He said, I am not a Biafran. He said, I am a Nigerian agent and that I'm working for Nigeria agent for Nigeria. I'll tell you, if I were to leave IPOB, that's when I would have done so. I had already taken my bag. I was mad. Deputy sat there. He did not tell Obienu, no. It was HOD, Mazi Uche Mefor, and every members who are not cabals to Obidie, that the whole went, I mean, you know, I was going to take my bag. Deputy came, HOD came to meet me. He put his hand on my shoulder and said, Madam, please, calm down. And Mazi Obona, they all came and calmed me down. But then I thought to myself, I said, wait, I left DON because of Obidie Obienu. So I go come let Obidie Obienu make me to leave, and this deputy to make me to leave IPOB. I thought about leader, though I have not seen leader, but I thought about the struggle. I thought about all he went through. I thought about how he has suffered for this struggle. Now I said to myself, I said, this man, this Obidie Obienu, he not reach anything to make me leave IPOB. So I stepped back forward. And that's when I said, you know what? Our leader has suffered more than this. So any insult when I get here, including the insult when Tochukwu lied, I said I take him as a pomade to run because I am staying in this struggle. I think it must have, it shocked Deputy and Obidie, and I stayed on. And I continued serving my unit and doing what I need to do. They go about, they tell people that our unit is not recognized and everything. Now, that was a query that happened. The fourth query that I got from Deputy was when you know, I'm trying to reflect on that query. Was the hearing of we went on air, which I've alluded to. That was the fourth query, you know, that we got. And leader came out, and I was so happy. Leader came out in Israel, and it was so pleasing to see leader. I said I would go and see leader in Israel. And knowing what deputy, knowing the type of people they are, I didn't let deputy know I was going to Israel. I didn't let Obidie know I was going to Israel. Because if I let them know, they will go and lie to leader. As you see the two of them, so lie, the biggest liar, the God who created, now God of lies, now I created the two of them. So I didn't let them know. I arranged and I went to see leader. I went there, I saw leader. I did let leader know the problems of USA. It wasn't fixed, you know, and something should be done. US supposed to play a role in this struggle. Why should US be so fragmented? And if the person when he's in charge, Obidie Obienu, is not performing to par, I don't know why deputy will not, nobody is saying that he should take Obidie out, but put somebody who can do the job and give him another role. They said, no, you don't have any right to do that, you know. So, I mean, I was honest. And leader, I mean, thank God I saw him with my two naked eyes, and God will bless his parents, okay? I mean, very, very reverent human being. He cares, and you can see it. He cares about Biafra. You can see it in him. He doesn't play with Biafra, you know. So everything they said, he rejected in jail and said, it must be Biafra. Yes, it's true, because I saw it with my eyes in him in Israel, and I can attest to that. Yes, so leader was gracious enough to invite me to come on air in Israel, and he let people know I was there to, you know, to see him, and that was all head loose. My name went into it. I was scandalous in this US, and I will not be surprised. They must have also went and destroyed my name to leader and say all kinds of manners of lies. But I didn't waver, because If they did, it didn't bother me. I continued on. If Obidie can tell me in June, say me, I'm not a Biafran, I'm a Nigerian agent, and I stayed on, I didn't worry what they had to go tell leader. Yeah, because I know they must have done that. Lies. So, you know, I didn't worry. I'm glad I went to see leader and I saw him with my 2 naked eyes. So now we went on, I continued, they cut our unit. Obidie block our unit. So when people from the IPOB, so when people want join IPOB, send message, he go send them to Tochukwu. He did in Washington DC, please. I forgot to mention, deputy dismantled groups that were legally registered. Joel Jeku, Mazi Jeku, Mazi, he dismantled. The reason deputy could not touch my unit is because he knew, even though he did all those evil things to me, him and Obidie, deputy knew that if he had dismantled my unit, oh God, I not agree. Now law now protect G with them. So he did not touch our unit. But what they did, they started going about, they started telling people that our unit is not recognized. And that leader didn't recognize our unit. So this was the lies they started spreading. Tochukwu Ikwanusi. And this Tochukwu Ikwanusi, meanwhile, he is holding meeting in Nigerian house here. Nigerian house, the Igbos in that house, they don't belong to IPOB. When they do events, they will charge Tochukwu $500 for Tochukwu to hold a table. And they will not even go to that table. Members of that Tochukwu group, now that same house, now Lower Niger Congress, they do meeting in Randolph. That same house, now Lower Niger Congress go first do meeting, finish before they go come let Tochukwu and in group go home meeting. Members who are in Tochukwu group, Dennis Ukatu, Promise Otaluka, they are members of Lower Niger Congress. Could you imagine that? They are in IPOB with Tochukwu, and the same members, they are in Lower Niger Congress, and they are all having meeting in the same house. Are you hearing me? Are you people hearing me?
Go on.
Yes, so today I go expose the whole thing. Yes. So now,
if I know they hear you, I go talk.
So it went on. The fifth email, which is the one I got from deputy, had to do with an issue, an email that I sent to Obienu, and that was in April 2019. It came to my attention that deputy himself and Clement Okoro, they went on Radio Biafra to announce that Tochukwu Ikwanusi is the state coordinator, IPOB state coordinator for Massachusetts. We were not involved. They did not invite Victor Ebuna to the meeting, but they made that announcement and it came to my attention. So when it came to my attention in April 1st, 2019, I then sent an email to Obidie Obienu. And my email to Obidie Obienu was, it came to my attention that Deputy and Clement went Clement Okoro made an announcement that Tochukwu is the state coordinator, Massachusetts state coordinator, IPOB. That wasn't to our attention, our knowledge. How is it that that happened and we didn't know about it? Could you please, you being the rep for US and North America, so I am coming to you because we have been instructed. The next thing is I will read, if you people don't mind, I hope I have enough time. I will read the what came from deputy. I want to read that one. Yeah. Yes. On April 3rd, because it was April 1st, 2019, that I wrote that, asking Obidie to please explain why that happened. Instead, it was deputy that I got what I'm about to read from. Deputy sent this by email to me on April 3rd, 2019. Precisely, it was at 8:27 a.m. my time, Eastern time. He wrote, "Dear Mrs. Erewa, please, I suggest that you verify and be certain of every information at your disposal before going public with it. This is not the first time," Deputy said. "I felt obliged to respond to this email. Otherwise, I should not, because what you are saying is unsubstantiated. Every other thing raised by you in this email should be addressed by appropriate individual principal officers. Your allegation with reference to my appointment on radio, my announcement on Radio Biafra about Mazi Tochukwu Ikwanusi is false. Please do the needful by furnishing the information on where, when, and how. And let me see, where is it here? Okay. How you got this misleading information on my announcement on Mazi Ikwanusi. Further, for the records, your approach is unnecessarily becoming antagonistic, disturbing, and uncalled for. With the level of certainty, assertiveness, and weight you attach to unverified, if non-existent issues or information. But even if I made, here we go, but even if I made that announcement and your declaration is that it is unacceptable, not recognized to you as indicated, the question now is, whom do you recognize? Hear this now. Oh, the leader of IPOB, right? I'm reading. Deputy sent me this. Then he went on. But it is still the same leader of IPOB, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that asked me for announcements or any action to be taken on his behalf. Every announcement I make, any action to be taken on his behalf comes from him. When we came to the USA last year, under a strict instruction from him, our leader, you kicked against the decision. You continued with your own thing and ultimately went to see our leader himself. And I asked, if you believe in our leader and carry out instructions from him, how sincere are you when you rejected same instruction he sent through me or any other channel, and unless you hear from him? He went on. I hope I have enough time. He went on. In the announcement I made on the reverse structure administration of USA America, I did not announce any appointment of any principal officer, contrary to what is being represented in your email. I attach the announcement for your information, for your clarity purpose. The USA National Coordinator is in charge of USA National. He is in charge of USA Executive Member. If the USA National is in charge of the USA family, the appointment of the state rep is then one of his prerogatives. In collaboration, communication with American rep and the DOS. That is, he notified the continental rep and the DOS in doing that, unless where otherwise and in exception circumstances, intervention came from IPOB leadership. How did you feel when you went to complain, hear this now, to complain against the same instruction that he gave, which you kicked against, but we are finally told that it was from him? You know, it went on. He said, please, you all should bear with me because I'm reading this directly here. He said, there is no grouping in IPOB where such expression is used. It is obviously from agents of destruction. Because in my email, I asked about group, they keep changing. So he said it's from agent of destruction. So we must desist from using it to differentiate us from enemies of the struggle. We have IPOB families at unit, zone, state, or national, regional, continental, and worldwide or global level. Issues must be treated on its merits. I notice the principal servant you copied in this email, apart from those in the USA, he mentioned one, I'm going to keep that confidential, he mentioned one name of DOS. He mentioned that name, and he said that DOS member is not in the USA. So I have no right to copy him, send a copy of the email to him. If I have time, I want to read my response to Deputy in that regard. Do I have time, please? Let me know. Mazi, do I have time to read that?
Of course. You can go on.
Okay, thank you very much. Please bear with me. I need to get my response that I sent to Deputy. The paper. Please just bear with me, folks, because it's very important. This part is very important, you know. I have a lot of papers here, and I'm trying to get the very one that I use in responding to deputy leader, where I let him know I was very polite in my response, but I responded to him. And I am looking for it here. And I hope I find it. Oh my God, what's going on? Anyway, I don't want to keep people waiting, but I did respond to him. Anyway, in my response to deputy, I was very polite. I was very, very reverent. I applied wisdom. I did let him know the 5 instances where he reprimanded me, so he wouldn't say that I made up I concocted a story. I used the exact date, the time, the circumstances where I get query for him. Even though I did not write, I'm not even the one that wrote petitions. It was submitted. I got queried from him. I noted that. In my response, I did let deputy know that Tochukwu Ikwanusi's calling, Obidie Obienu's calling, Clement Okoro calling is not my calling. I came into this struggle through our leader, and I did what I understood to be what I am supposed to do. So my calling is leader's calling, is God's calling. And I also did in that letter let deputy know that I am not doing what I'm doing for position. I am not doing it because I'm looking for position or recognition. I am already known. I mentioned it in that letter. If it is being known, I'm already known, even before I joined IPOB. So anything I do in IPOB, I'm doing it for the struggle. I'm not doing it for recognition. I mentioned that in the letter, But then I also thanked him for standing by leader, even though I know that he's not with leader, because I knew. By March 2018, I knew he wasn't with leader when he said IPOB is not under the leadership of Mazi Uche Mefor. And he couldn't tell me under whose leadership is IPOB. So why should I be in DOS? And meanwhile, Obidie was knocking our head. I said, I advised myself. And that's when I left DOS because of Obidie Obienu. And also deputy not seeing that what Obidie was doing is wrong. He will take side with Obidie. So I felt that I don't want to become a victim, to go to bed at my age with headache. So I carry my body, now I come out. So I knew all along that deputy was not with, he wasn't with leader. He wasn't by March, because he said it, that IPOB was not under the leadership of Mazi Uche Mefor. He warned us, and they took his name from the flyer that we did. That's when I knew that they have never been, and it was all facelift. And so that's it. They scatter. Even when we went to Atlanta, Georgia, last year, after we came back, I went to Atlanta, Georgia. I went because of leader, I went because of leader. And I knew all the shenanigans were doing in that in that. They were never with leader, honest to God. I even thought that they will do this after Biafra don't come. That's what I thought. You know, when we don't get Biafra and everyone, they take care of their own, I thought that's when Obidie, Obienu and the deputy will show themselves. I didn't know that they will do it even before the restoration of Biafra. So waiting on our see, not be today, then planner. They planned it before today, before now. If not, when leader's whereabouts was not known. Because they said it that IPOB was not under the leadership. In fact, they made it look like Obidie, my own IPOB, North America. And the money, not only God knows what they were doing, but we were sending our money. So that is what I know. So waiting on how they see is not new. I knew myself, even if, so it didn't come as a surprise to me. It only surprised me that it happened before Biafra was restored. So, Mazi, that is...
Yes, Madam Eriwa. Thank you very much. You know, this is a kind of expose. You know, but there is something I find amusing or hypocritical about their own way of speaking now. Madam, I think you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can hear you very well.
Okay. So, you know what the first thing Uche Mefor was saying? Oh, that Biafra should be inclusive. Even those in the riverine area should be allowed to be at the right-hand side of our leader. Whereas he's showing a very bad example. Don't you see that is hypocritical?
Very, very. Let me tell you what Obidie did. Obidie, 2 months ago. You know, the riverine area, the young ones, they communicate with me, they reach out to me, they always share with me. Even though this man, that they call him Okibe, you know Onyibe, Urobo, Okibe in Urobo na scammer. Now Urobo they call Okibe. When you hear Urobo say, you're back Okibe. So, you know, his brother is tearing the Delta apart. Onyibe's younger brother also, one of his brothers. So the young people, they reach out to me. So one of them is a constant. He reached out to me. He runs, he does this, he does his own YouTube also. You know, they do on Facebook and so on. So when this Uche Mefor episode happened, he called me. That was 2 weeks ago, and he was saying, "My goodness, that is this something that Uche Mefor did?" I said, "You know, saying Papa now US here do." Obidie, Obienu. He said, wait, because now only neither they call me. He said, only Obidie, Obienu. He said, no, Obidie, Obienu, they inside too. I said, now, Papa now. I said, they are all together. Now, with the same wings they all get with Okibe. He said, only, you know what? I said, what happened? He said, 2 months ago, he said, Obidie, Obienu collar. Mekuna they hear this, so Obidie, Obienu collar. He saw Obidie, Obienu come, they tell us, say they want open studio for them. Make it they do broadcast. He said, so he tell Obidie, he said, now he tell Obidie, say, make him think about it. It's Obidie tell am say make him no worry. Say dem go furnish the studio. He say na he tell am say make him think about it and he go get back to am. He say the reason why he never get back to Obidie, Obienu, na be say he still dey try to put in thoughts how he go do am. Now I tell am say don't you dare. 2 weeks ago, I said don't do it. I said if that, I said that. He said no. He said this Obidie still there for IPOB, DOS. Now I said no. He said even this one at DOS. Now he ask him to come tell him. Now I said no. I saw Mazi Uche Mefor. They are all bunch of gangs, and in fact, Obienu, I say now the thing now Uche Mefor Papa na be. I say so if Obidie call you, just tell us say you are with our leader. I say go peace for pound. I say so don't you do it. He thanked me. They were trying to coerce a lot of young customers. If I tell there is a young custom lady, female, who now call me today on WhatsApp, thanking me because she was going to leave IPOB because the kind of information they were, she is in Biafra land. Now come they tell her, now you see, she thanked me. So Obidie, Obienu, all the thing when they do now be saying now how they go lie and coerce and deceive all these young people to make them come to the side of the one who know in waiting be name Uche Mefor na be name. Sorry, Mazi, that
it's horrible. Honestly, it's horrible. Honestly, you know what I used to say. Some people came to this struggle with different mindset, with different ambitions. And let me tell you, when our leader said that Biafra cast out demon, people think that it's a joke. It's true. If you come into this struggle with the goal of having a position or money or what you can gain or fame, I'm telling you, you are in a very wrong place. You are in for a very big mistake and shock. That is what I used to tell people. Because this is a struggle ordained by Chukwu Okike. It's a fact. It's a fact. So I thank you very much for taking your time in order to clarify some issues and expose things of which, I know they are calling. They even since I know they call people, they tarnish people's image, even Obidie calls people tarnishing even your image on people. I know that, so it's horrible, honestly, but we must continue. It's just to put clarification on things because, some people, some of our people, some of them, I don't know whether they have a strong ear. We call it Intike, But thank you very much. Thank you very much. Do you have any other thing to say before I continue? Because I will people always know me because I'm an old school person and I always like to use song as an encouragement. So let me just sing this song quickly from the hymn book. Yes, it's a courage, It goes like this. Courage, comrades, do not stumble. Though the path may be dark as night, put it bravely, strong and hopeful. Trust in God and do the right. Thanks to God for all his mercies. Praise the Lord for he is kind. Always look up to his glory. Trust
trust in God and do the right. And that's exactly what our leader is doing. I urge every one of us to stand by our leader. All the young people, constituents, una know say una behind who, una dey behind well, una blind. Wake up, join the struggles, start a leader, because all people una no listen na cohorts na I dey. So na my word of advice. Now give every one of us. And we thank our leader. God will bless him. Thank you so much, Mazi, for all you all are doing. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to come and share what I know truthfully to God. And I will say, IPOB one family, all hail Biafra, we must continue.
Well, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
Yes, of course. The whole world is listening. The whole world is hearing you. You can now take over the microphone